What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/pro revenge. Alright, so this story's called Steal My Security Deposit and Ignore Me for a Year? Say goodbye to your staff and reputation. This initially began as a petty revenge tale, and 1 month later, I can finally say I've won, and I believe it ended up wholly pro. So, background. Around Thanksgiving 2017, my wife's company offered her a fantastic promotion, which she accepted even though it meant moving across the state by January 1st. The month of December was insanity. List and sell the house, find a short-term rental which would accept 4 pets, pack, move, etc. A lot of whiskey magically disappeared, but I got it all done and we moved into our rental house and all was well. We bought our new home and moved, and the rental lease officially ended on April 1st. The property manager followed the state laws correctly so far, and we were told we'd get the $1,800 owed for our security deposit back by May. Spoiler alert, it never came. I spent the next 4 months going back and forth with the property manager and hearing, "It's coming, we never got your paperwork, blah blah." I got sick of this and got 2 different lawyers involved and sent them official demand letters. I also filed a formal complaint with the State Division of Real Estate against their license. The property manager kept telling the state investigators that they would pay us back, but nothing ever happened. I don't want to formally sue via our lawyer because he charges $300 an hour and it's all up front. I was hesitant to go to small claims court because it's a $5,000 max in our state and the damages we're legally owed are 3 times the $1,800 deposit, which puts us over that cap. So I'd have to give up on some of the damages we're legally entitled to seek, eat roughly $500 total in fees, and then go through that whole process for the next year, and assuming we won the judgment, then go through the collection process for another year or 2. An option 1, we'd win, but a big pain in my ass. So this is where the pro revenge comes in. It was initially petty. Say their website is crappypropertymanager.com. I bought crappypropertymanager.co for $12 and posted all of my screenshots and information about their theft and bullcrap for the world to see. And then I bombed it all over their business Facebook pages as well as the personal pages for the main partners and their Yelp page. I got a kick out of it. They took their pages down. Petty revenge wins, right? My little website caused a bigger boom than I anticipated. Basically, this property manager has 2 principal agents in charge and 1 broker. One of the agents is married to the broker. Beneath them, they have, or had, 5 realtors. I sent my new website to them all, everywhere I could. Turns out, the partner who isn't married to the broker had no idea that the broker and his wife were stealing money from the property management company. The realtors had no idea either. 2 of them quit immediately, and 1 reached out to me to let me know why she quit and that she was going to a new broker. But the other principal of the company was mortified. She asked me to leave her name out of it, take the stuff down, etc. And I just politely but coldly replied that, hey, your business partners or broker stole my money and I can back everything I'm saying with documents. Not my problem. She promised she'd get things resolved, and for the first time in 10 months, the broker started answering my emails. We worked out a deal and they're now paying us $200 a month until December, which will cover the amount owed plus the extra from our legal fees. The first check came last week. It actually bounced, but I made them send me a cashier's check. They have to send cashier's checks going forward, so we did get our first installment. I've also learned that the state investigation has been turned over to the state's legal department, and the broker and his wife will likely lose their license. The state investigator said they had multiple complaints against them, but I was the most thorough now and had the most documentation against them. So our complaint was a big reason they had the ammo to push it to the legal team. So all told, my crappy little website ended up costing them 40% of their real estate team, resulted in them removing their business Facebook listings, pushed the investigation into their license over to a state legal team, still ongoing, and resulted in them having to finally start paying us not only the $1,800 we're owed, but the legal fees I spent on top of it. Oh, and that bounce check? I made them send me a certified check for $12 to cover the bank fee for that too. You know what though? Given how long they've taken to pay you, you're entitled to more than that, I'm pretty sure. This story's called Updated Conclusion! Stealing my security deposit and ignore me for a year? Say goodbye to your staff and reputation. Updated Conclusion! From March until October, we received the checks for $200 a month, no problem. They were a few days late sometimes, but they arrived, so I went with it. The initial March check had bounced, but they sent certified after that, so it also wasn't a big deal. Then October hits. They don't send a certified check, but since they've been good all year and we were nearing the end, I deposited it. It shouldn't be a shock that it bounced, so I emailed them to get this fixed. The property manager says, sorry, I goofed. Since we only owe you $600, I'll send you one check for $312 now, half plus the bounce check fee, and the rest in December. I agree. Weeks pass. Nothing. So I reach back out in early December and finally get a check, but it's only for $200. I was fed up with their games and with this bullcrap hitting almost the 2-year mark, so I stuck to the deadline and I expected the remaining $412 by December 15th. The 15th comes and goes, so I email again on the 16th, and what do you know? Radio silence. Totally ignored. So I wait until the 23rd, right before Christmas, and just sent them a short email saying exactly that the website was going back up and I'd resume legal action since they decided not to honor our new written agreement. The partner who got the repayment process started in the first place finally had enough and snapped and said she couldn't deal with this over Christmas and that she'd repay me herself to be done with this. I received our final check for $412 today. After 2 years of this bullcrap, it's finally over, and I have all of our security deposit returned, plus some to cover my legal fees and certified mail costs. The total fallout on their end, 3 of their 5 realtors ended up leaving based on my website. They had to repay me everything they owed, and I didn't let them off the hook. And I just used the state tool to look up their real estate license, and the license hearing did not go their way. And their license is on probation with 11 complaints filed against it, which will all require repayment and remediation, with the most recent complaint being an internal administrative complaint based on my actions, which will likely result in them losing their license altogether in 2020, although that's just an assumption, but a likely one since the administrative complaint is the most recent and is wholly open. Whoa, that's insane, and I wonder what happens next. You can decide at goldfishfund.com. Who else remembers those commercials? Final update! Steal my security deposit and ignore me for a year? Say goodbye to your staff and reputation. My last update was 10 months ago, and I thought that would be the final update to this story. And so there's a tilde on the background. December 2017, my wife and I moved into a rental home for 3 months. At the end of the lease, the property manager refused to return our security deposit. Lawyers were worthless, so I bought a similar web domain to the property manager and made the theft public. Property manager lost 3 of their 5 realtors, repaid our whole deposit, plus extra to cover legal fees. The state board was pissed at them, put their license on probation, I'm assuming that's what that means, I don't know what and hit them with some mild to moderate penalties. That's where I figured it would end in late 2019, with 11 open complaints on their license and the state just giving them slaps on the wrist. I figured it was was as good as we could expect. Tonight I got curious and bored and hopped onto the state license portal to see what had happened. When we left off in 2019, they had 11 open complaints, 10 of which were from renters and 1 from the state itself. That was the one that had me curious. The state closed out my case and 9 others in June of 2019, which put their license on probation for a year, gave them courses to take, and some whopping fines, which were basically nothing. I don't know how they screwed up, but the state complaint got taken higher and into this year, and as of July 2020, their license has been completely revoked. Not just the business license for XX Real Estate, but the personal license for the butthole who dicked me around too. I got my money back and they're out of business partly because of me? I will take it. As a bonus, here are some screenshots from the state portal. The large blue images show the list of all complaints on the license and the final 2020 revocation. A smaller orange image is from the state's 2019 end-of-year license penalty report and just shows that the butthole property managers screwed us over and a lot of others, and got their penalties for it. The license revocation will be included in the 2020 end-of-year report, I imagine. In any case, I was already happy with how things ended, but knowing their licenses are gone? Love it. Would you look at that? Okay, so jerk hole property managers get screwed. That's not safe for work video I'd like to see. Oh wait, that's what we just saw, and it was completely safe for work. Did you hear that, YouTube? Did you hear that? No bits were shown in the making of this video. Wait a minute, how would you even know? There's only a microphone. This story's called Lose My Work? Mama Bear's Coming for You. Reading the principal revenge story piqued my interest and made me remember a really crappy situation where my mother came out on top. Oh, the jokes. Flashback to 1996, 5th grade, in a new school after moving from the East to West Coast Canada. 2 months into the school year, at the time of my first report card, my grades were barely passing, 60%. Max. In my old school, I was always in the top 1% of grading. My parents thought I was slacking due to being angry about the move. I wasn't. I was happy to try to make new friends, away from the idiots I grew up around. The teacher, Mr. Terrible, had to remove his real name, had comments like, never turns in homework, and is disruptive during lessons, and has reading comprehension of a student in kindergarten. This really pissed my mom off, as I had been offered to be skipped ahead 2 grades into the same one as my older sister, and I declined. I really wanted friends. Being 2 whole years younger than my peers was a sentence of isolation, and when I transferred to my new school, they made me do a reading and writing placement test. I was reading, writing, and comprehending at a university level. Shout out to kids who only had books as friends. Anyway, it came up to speech writing time. I chose to write a speech on the only unsolved hijacking of an airplane, D.B. Cooper. I spent hours upon hours at the public library, scanning microfiche to find any information, and finally wrote my speech and asked my mom to edit it. She did a fantastic job, gave me tips as to how to make it into something that would take less than 5 minutes to deliver. I thought I was being smart and gave my teacher the unabridged version and a copy of my actual speech. I wanted him to know the time and effort that went into it. Turn it in, everything is hunky-dory, until I was selected to read my speech in front of the whole school. I asked my teacher for my cue cards, which the speech was written on, and my handwritten notes so I could revise and re-memorize the edited speech. That's when I got the reply. I don't have any of that. You failed to turn it in. You're on thin ice with your grades and look like you might have to be kept back at the end of the year unless you buckle down and actually do some work. You have to earn grade 6. I was devastated and furious and probably cried a little. I came home and told my mom what happened. She went full mama bear mode. Told me to get in the car, we're going to speak to the teacher. So we show up, he's coaching baseball baseball practice in the gym, a team I never had a chance to play on, even though I played AAA ball my entire life up to that point and after. And Mother walks right out there, takes the ball from him, tells the other kids to practice tagging a sliding base runner, something he never did, and says, "Follow me to your classroom." He did. The principal was waiting, as well as our district superintendent. My mother starts rifling through his desk and drawers, as well as the homework inbox. Can't find anything. Principal states, "If we can't find it in his desk, it's proof it was never turned in. Sorry, but your son will have to make it up somehow." Teacher says with a smug look, "He's had ample time and numerous chances. It's a no. No chance to make it up." I'm officially bawling at this point, and my mother looks like she's ready to slit throats. And then, this is good, I notice a massive stack of paper on a corner desk marked "to be shredded." I say to my mom, "I put all my speech stuff in a red duotang. I think it's in there." My mom walks over, grabs the red duotang, and sure enough, it's my speech. And in that 2-foot tall stack was the rest of my missing homework. My teacher tries to blame me, saying I put all of it in the wrong pile. When I point to the tray that says assignments due, my grades were readjusted back to the top 1%. He was disciplined, and we had a substitute for a month. The principal marked all of my work for the remainder of the school year. Some may ask, what the fuck did OP do to get treated so badly? Well, during baseball tryouts, we were working on proper throwing body mechanics. I said to my teacher that anyone with a wild throw should play catch against the wall. It'll teach them to throw overhand better, because if you don't do it right, your elbow hits the wall. I apparently knew more about baseball than he did. Screw that guy. Edit 1. Life pro tip: if you're going to railroad a student into failing due to work not turned in, make sure you dispose of the evidence and wait until after the superintendent's monthly visit. Edit 2. Grammar and spelling, as well as adding a couple of sentences. Edit 3. I apparently need my mom to edit what I write still. Leroy Jenkins! Update 4, recipe update, edit 5, real name removed. Teal deer, 2 eggs, 1 1/3 cup of milk, 1 cup of flour, with a pinch of salt, not 1 teaspoon. Oh dear God, do not put a teaspoon of salt into whatever the hell, what is this? Oh, it's Yorkshire pudding. Okay. Mix thoroughly, preheat oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, half a teaspoon of oil in the bottom of each muffin tin, preheat muffin tin until it starts to smoke. Is this like what y'all would eat in the same sort of way we would eat cornbread? Anyway, wait, I'm confused. Why was that recipe just randomly there? Regardless, really cool story. I'm glad you're really smart. Interesting story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.